Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to the channel. My name is Psycho Gold, this is Psycho Gold Videos. Today we're going to be carrying on with Gridman episode 5. I actually watched Gridman episode 4 yesterday. It was my intention to watch Gridman episode 5, but I'll be completely honest with you, I haven't been feeling that great. So, I don't know exactly when this episode is going to go live on YouTube because I'm having a lot of difficulty right now in getting stuff done. Might have to go to the doctors if I can't, like, get some stuff under control because I'm getting really irritated with it all now. And I'm just struggling with motivation in general at the moment. Not helped by the fact that when I am keeping to my timetable, as anyone who's been watching My Hero Academia knows, that they keep getting blocked. Now in the last episode of Gridman, I got kind of frustrated by the fact that it still doesn't really make any sense. And I'll be honest, if episode 5 doesn't start giving me a little bit more in the way of answers and satisfaction, this might be the first anime that I give up doing reactions on, and I'll still watch it on my own. At the same time though, I kind of feel like I've gone this far, I might as well see the reactions through, but it started off really promising and I was really enjoying it, but the last episode, I don't know man, I just wasn't connecting with it like I hoped I would, so we'll see how episode 5 does, and see how I feel at the end of this episode, but it's definitely not any competition for Goblin Slayer or Slime as far as I'm concerned. Now I'm sure most of you watching this are obviously fans of Gridman, and I don't mean by any stretch of the imagination that Gridman is bad, I just think that it's taking too long to actually start making sense, and if you watch my last reaction then you know that I had lots of questions that I'm starting to not be able to just ignore, and I want them answered. And if they're never going to answer them, then I'll still finish the series, but I probably won't think that highly of it. So without further ado, 3, 2, 1, go! Oh! Hello! I was going to say, that's an interesting way to start the episode. I was going to say, I assume you're going to put on more clothes though to leave. This wouldn't have happened if you'd killed your teacher. Oh wow, she's just happened to lie in a rather sexually suggestive pose there. Schoolgirl. So if they leave the city, I wonder what will happen. Oh, something's happening here. Was that a flashback? Did we finally get a little bit of a hint as to what was that we just saw? That looked like a flashback of some description from... Is he starting, at last, starting to remember what happened? Oh, but if he puts his phone away... How is he going to know if Gridman calls him? Well, this is going to be a fan service heavy episode, obviously. Arcane is still trying to get her friendship back with Riku so that she can get more information on Yuta, I bet. Oh dear. That's him frozen. Oh, and he's just hiding out in the back in the shade. Yeah, well, you messed up your opportunity in the last episode. You should have clarified that you just wanted to go out just the two of you. Oh, hello. Oh, so she's going to try and get information from the source instead of going through his friends. That's actually true. Technically, people problems, yeah. I love the fact that they're not even trying treatment for him, like the people who diagnosed his amnesia. That's one way of doing it. She brought the mountain itself to life? Okay, well, I'll give it to Arcane. This is definitely different. Although I just noticed, like, I like the fact that Riku's got on a what could be a very sexual swimsuit, but she's covered it underneath so that it's not. I love the fact though that she managed to keep that phone from being damaged by the water from where it was hiding. It's like, damn, that must be a very resistant swimsuit. Yeah, this is really a pain, him having to transform with the computer. Oh, I have to go through the mountain. So what's he gonna do? You need coins for a public phone, yeah. The good old days. It's okay, Riku does. Yeah, because she's part of the Gridman Alliance too. Then you've got to plug him in. It seems like a very inefficient way of transforming. Surely someone can make this, improve this. Like, what is the point of the flash brace if you can't use it from a distance? Oh? Oh god, he's back. Oh! Okay, he's getting her out of there? I love the fact that she's the only one that has been drawn all hot and sweaty. And it's like, okay, Japan, okay. Thank you for this angle. Feel free to move along now. They're all still in school. Okay, great, you've unloaded it. Now what? Oh, okay, so he only lost his jacket, or top, whatever you want to call it. No, they've got a load of extension cables. So, I like the way that Gridman's consciousness is just able to carry on without any power to junk. Oh, so we're going to see one of the other thingamajigs activate. I wonder which one it's going to be. Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be the jet, given the size of him. Oh, so she's like an emergency truck when she transforms. Well, that's handy. It's still weird sometimes hearing Yuta's voice and other times hearing Gridman's voice. Well, that went well. Oh. He's gonna enrage, isn't he? He's left her the scarf so that she can breathe, but he's not interested in helping her anymore. He's like, Gridman. Oh, wow, the difference in size is ridiculous. Oh, well, she has missiles. She's already more useful than the big gorilla truck. Oh, and it froze them in place. So, we saw this combination in the opening. Oh, the animation is still really smooth, though, whenever they do these transformation sequences. But what's this one going to be, then? Full armor combine! Oh, it's the Buster Gridman. Okay. So, can this one drill? Oh! Okay. He's showing off some new powers as well. Yeah. So is he able to mimic Gridman's abilities, or does he already have these abilities and it lends hand in hand with, well, I said that I still think there's a connection between him and Gridman, like they might be the same thing, whatever they actually are. Beam! Oh, is it going down? It looks like it's going down. See, it's weird. She was like taking his scarf at first and she was accepting his help, and now that he's failed, she's kind of like tossed his scarf to one side again. Oh, it was a drill. Okay. Oh, the drill's just for show. Yep, pretty much. Yep, Akane takes care of herself, dude. Is that the mountain putting itself back together? Looks like it. What's okay? The whole island is like reconstructing itself. Yes, exactly. Someone who's asking questions. Okay, this guy might be my new favorite character. Okay, so we've got someone who might actually be taking a proactive approach to this. Okay, that's all I've been asking for. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was episode 5 of Gridman. I had to think about it then. It was different this time in that she tried a different approach to destroying Gridman by obviously increasing the landmass of the monster. I thought it was a different idea to have the creature actually come from the land itself. It wasn't like she animated or brought to life a monster as such. She actually created the island itself that they were on, like the mountain, the ground itself became the monster, which is kind of a cool idea. I didn't really grasp just how larger this thing was until obviously Gridman transformed and he was like tiny compared to the mountain. And obviously people in general are tiny compared to Gridman, so when you start multiplying the scaling, you're like, oh wow, that thing's pretty big. I like the fact that we got to see another of the other mysterious crew that just shows up, show off what they can do. Obviously her little truck has missiles, it has missiles that have the ability to put out fire, it has drills, and obviously when it combined with Gridman, he became the Buster Move Gridman, or sorry, the Buster Gridman. Come on Gridman, just bust a move! So, sadly we didn't see him drill underground, which is what I thought was going to happen, but we did get to see that when he becomes Buster Gridman, he does get an assortment of ranged weaponry, the heavy artillery version of Gridman, so he's less about karate chopping his opponents and turning on the weapons. He essentially turns into a war machine from Marvel. And he also gets access to an even more ridiculous form of his Gridman laser beam, which he was able to use to essentially cut the mountain to ribbons, and then obviously, you know, he collapsed under the weight of his own rubble, which also took out the recurring opponent, who I'm not actually sure we have a name for, but Arcane's little creation pet thing. That again, I'm still not convinced isn't some connection to Gridman, but again, they've both got amnesia and neither one knows what's going on. For all I know, it could have, you know, it could be, I'm still convinced that he is something to do with Gridman, that he is of the same, I want to call them race, because they've got too many similarities, and the fact that he can copy Gridman's powers once he sees Gridman use them also lends itself to the idea that he and Gridman have some kind of a connection. Now, I could be entirely wrong, and it might just be that it's a very good creation of Arcane's, but he seems to be very much different to anything else that she's made. Like, he is a being with a personality, and he was questioning whether or not he was a kaiju, and she said that he was, but I can't help but think that it's a lie, and it's another manipulation of Arcane to get what she wants from what could be another defender against kaiju if he had, you know, met up with Gridman and Yuta instead of Arcane. And obviously he's more useful because he can actually transform into his giant version there and then. He doesn't need to use junk, which at first I didn't think was going to be much of a limitation, but now it really is a pretty big limitation, and the fact that they like transported it to the train station, I don't know, man. You've really got to suspend your disbelief in this show, and I know that that's, you know, all anime you kind of have to do that, but this one being set in modern day, having a lot more like real life things in it, I'm finding it harder to do in this show, even though it is ultimately about a giant robot sentient being taking on giant not sentient monsters. So, you know, I will give them some credit. I realize that I'm probably expecting too much of them in that regards. With that said, though, I also liked the interactions of all of the kids when they were just being regular kids, going on their little rafting trip. It was nice to see them all just interacting. Arcane as well seems to have decided that there is definitely a connection between Gridman and Yuta. She even used the word transforming. And I think Yuta is also beginning to become suspicious of Arcane, which is good because, again, as I said in the last episode, kind of annoyed about the fact that all of these characters just keep taking things as they are and don't question, they're not investigating, they don't actually seem to be proactively trying to do something about it, other than reacting to when a big monster appears. However, at the end, it looks like one of the guys from, what was it, Neo High School or something like that. It seems that he is very much of an investigative nature, and he wants to know, like, why do kaiju keep appearing only where they are, and, you know, what's going on here. And it's funny because, you know, Rika, I can never remember. She said something similar in the last episode. She was like, why do the kaiju keep appearing wherever I am? You know, am I the problem? And I don't think she is, but I do think she's something to do with this, because Calibus, I'm still obviously remember that Calibus said something to her along the lines of she needs to help, because she's the only one that can convince Yuta to fight at that particular moment. And in the very first episode, her interactions with Junk is what allowed Gridman to win. So I still think there's more to her than meets the eye. Whether or not she herself knows there's more to her, or whether she remembers, is another question altogether. I thought she did, but this episode is making me question that. Maybe the more to her, she doesn't remember. I mean, it's obvious that her and Yuta obviously had things going on between them before Yuta lost his memory, because she was so annoyed at him, and then she wanted to act like they've never really spoken. But with all the memory manipulation going on, who's to say that she even remembers that? Because up until, like, what, the second episode, the other two couldn't even see the kaiju and couldn't remember everything that was going on. For all we know, this Gridman alliance could have been formed several times over. We just don't know what's going on a larger scale, and that's what I really want to start getting into. As entertaining as it is watching Gridman beat up these monsters every week in a different way, I really want the narrative to start catching up. And there's only so many times I can watch Gridman fight a giant monster and I can be depressed about it talking to the guy behind the monitor. I really want the narrative to start explaining the more interesting things that are going on outside of the giant fights, which I still love. I don't want the giant fights to stop. I just want the narrative to start ramping up as much as the fight sequences are. I want to know what's going on with the fact that the place can reconstruct itself. I want to know what's the deal with all of these people that the show keeps introducing, and obviously I'd like for some of the characters to start trying to solve these mysteries, or at least question them, which thankfully someone has started to do at the end of this episode. But I actually want to physically see that start to happen in the next episode, not just, you know, they mention it and then they do nothing with it. And that's kind of what's annoying me, because that keeps happening. They keep looking like they're going to start talking about the narrative and the mystery, but then they don't. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this particular episode. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave it a thumbs up. Drop comments down below letting me know what you thought of this episode. And if you're new around here, don't forget to click subscribe. As well as Gridman, I'm currently watching Goblin Slayer. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. And My Hero Academia, if Tohu ever let it go on YouTube, that is. There are other shows as well that we've watched in the past. There are other shows that are also still on the way, like Mob Psycho. I'm also editing that for YouTube. And I've just recently started watching a live action show that will be heading to YouTube pretty soon as well. So, with that little preview of what you can expect on this channel done, all that's remaining for me to say is click that subscribe button, click the bell to get notified. My name is Psycho Gold, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. Psycho Gold, out.